Yeah, we're live in the community.
Awesome. Give me just a sec. I think somebody messed with my.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
All right. What a time for my cat to decide she wants to mess with my cables.
Yeah. I mean, sorry about another technical problem. Kind of like if you're not doing this on an everyday basis, you have to things kind of like change in between. But anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to another Hotline Support Hour, where this is the second time that we're doing this, March week 2. And I see that we already have a few people connecting with us, so welcome. And if you are catching this, the recording of this session, then hello also to you. So how are you, Maria?
Let me see. Oh yeah, I'm good. Yeah, just excited for
What
this
did your
week.
what did your cat do?
She pulled the cables from under my computer. I think she just disconnected the microphone and the what's it called? The video.
Okay. All right.
It's
Time
funny.
to okay, I'm gonna mess up with Maria right now. Anyway, okay, so this is our week 2, and let me just say, if you haven't seen the week 1 session, you can always catch up on the recording. It's always available in our community. Okay, we talked about leads or a lead follow-up system. Okay, so let's move forward now for week 2. Let's cover pipelines. Okay, so probably some of you are familiar with the concept of a sales pipeline. If not, hopefully this session will give you an idea of how you can set up something for your business. Because before a pipeline can really help a business or your business, there has to be some clarity around the customer journey itself. Okay, so for example, lots of businesses probably have not actually taken the time to map out what's their customer journey. From what happens when somebody contacted them first up to the closed deal. What are those stages? So the pipeline ends up filling in that gap without much structure behind it. Or probably some businesses, they do have a pipeline, but it just oftentimes become a place where they store their leads. They don't use it as a strategy. So hopefully for this session, you'll be able to see your pipeline is not simply a place to store your leads, but actually can be used as something to move your business forward. Not just that your leads or deals sit in your pipeline and then somebody means somebody means to come back to follow up on your leads, and then before too long you realize, oh, nobody really followed up, or nobody knows who or what to followed up with. Nobody knows which lead has gone stale. Okay, so the real issue here is not just about the deals in the pipeline, but sometimes there's a lot of them that has been stuck without a clear next action. So your pipeline is not helping your business make decisions if that's the case. And in that sense, a pipeline should make it obvious what should happen next. Okay, what needs to happen next? So who needs a call? Who needs a reminder? Who is waiting on a response from your team or from your business? And which deals are getting stuck? Okay, and also it's not just important to think about the number of stages, but to think about that each stage triggers the right next step. And that's when your pipeline starts becoming useful. Okay, so in the next part, Maria over here will be going through what that actually looks like in practice and using Growth Genie 360 as software, building a pipeline. How can you even attach automation so that there will be movement between stages? And if you have leads that are just sitting there untouched, what can you do? We engage them. So take it away, Maria.
Awesome. Thank you, Diana, for explaining all of that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let's see, which screen should I share? Okay, perfect. Alrighty, so we are talking about a few different things today. General pipeline and what I will be demonstrating. One will be building a clean 5 to 6 stage pipeline. The second thing will be an automation stage movement. Third, triggering follow-ups when a deal moves. And then the last one will be creating a stuck lead reminder system. Okay, so we're going to go through all of those. And then just let me show you right here inside of your Growth Genie 360 account on the left-hand side, you will have the opportunities tab. And inside of the opportunities, that is where your pipelines live. And the opportunity section, it's just going to be, again, where you can see your leads and then handle everything that like has to do with following up with clients and even just discovering new clients. And so your salespeople are probably going to live here. This is going to be the place where they go and keep track of those customers that they're trying to get to purchase from you or to get it, do some type of business with you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to go to pipelines up here at the top. As you can see, we have pipelines. So we already have some pipelines, but let me just kind of give you like a little bit of and Diana already mentioned it, but pipelines are kind of like a visual map of your sales process. So the pipeline is what you call the process overall, and then you have stages inside of that pipeline. So if you sell, I don't know, let's see, if you have a salon and you sell and you have the service of doing hair and then doing nails, you might want to have two different leads or two different pipelines for those, because they're two different services, and maybe the nail lady doesn't do the hair, like hair services. So you want to have two different pipelines. So we're going to go ahead and create a pipeline here. And again, you go to opportunities, and up here you go to pipelines, and we're going to create a pipeline. And we're just going to call it our test pipeline. And as you can see, the current pipeline already comes with 4 stages, and you can keep these, but what I would recommend is that you change it to, again, what Diana said, make sure that you know your buyer's journey, and then change it to like those checkpoints that you have with your clients when they're going to be making, when they performed an action. So we're going to go new lead, and then we're going to do contact call, and then we're going to add another one, and we'll do demo scheduled. So if you need to give, scheduled and proposal sent and closed. And you don't have to do this, but we can also add a lost and won category. So in this in this situation, your close would be like your one area, and your loss would be like a client that's completely lost. You can't, they're not going to purchase from you. Okay, so we're going to hit create, and then we're going to go back to opportunities right here at the very top, and we're going to go through all of our already created pipelines, and here's our test pipeline. And the way that it works is that you get a new lead that comes in here, and then you're going to contact them and then move them forward. And you can do this manually, or you can do it via automation. And I'm going to show you how to do an automation. So this is the first, we already did the first one, building a clean 5 to 6 stage pipeline. We're going to be moving to automating stage movements. So you can go ahead and have one of your salespeople add an opportunity manually here, but you can also add it of, sorry about that. So we're going to go and head over here to automation. Okay. And we're going to start a brand new automation, create a workflow, start from scratch. And say that you have, okay, and say that you have a form on your website that every time somebody fills it out, you want them to convert into a lead. You can do that. You can do that with a call, kind of like we talked about last week, that if somebody calls you and you miss a call, they can become a lead. If somebody calls you in general, they can become a lead. if you receive a text, if somebody messages you on social media regarding your services, they can also become a lead. So I'm going to go ahead and show you here how we are going to automate stage movement, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and name our workflow. And remember, you always want to name them because they can get lost very, very easily if you're just leaving them at like workflow number, blah, blah, blah. Alrighty. And our trigger is going to be today, we're going to be working with a form. So our trigger is going to be form submitted. So say you have this form on your request a quote page on your website. What's going to happen is that anytime somebody submits it, it's going to put them into that pipeline, the beginning of the pipeline. So let's go ahead and add that, and I create a special form because I'm going to show you how this all works. Okay, and then we're going to save the trigger. All right, so once that is saved, we are going to create opportunity. And then we talked a little bit about this last week, but we do have two options on how to create. We have create and then create and update. And I like to use the create opportunity because even though it's in beta right now, change this up. So when you're creating an opportunity, what you're going to do is you're going to click your specific pipeline. We just created a pipeline and we named it test pipeline. All right. And then we are going to go ahead and add fields. Here's my form, if you guys can see it, full name, phone, and email. Super simple. This is the form that we're going to be testing today. All right, super simple. We are going to pick the pipeline stage, and then it's going to be a new lead. Okay, so remember how we created some stages right here. It's going to be under new lead. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the opportunity name, and then we're going to add our little contact tag. That way it changes, right? It changes who, like the name of whoever filled that form out. And then we're going to do opportunity source. And that's going to tell us, hey, this came from the form. And you don't have to do that because you'll already assume that it's coming from the form, but this is just another way that you're and once the opportunity has been created, it's going to go straight to that new lead opportunity. And what we're going to do next is we're going to send an email to the client. Okay, and then there are a lot of different things, like ways that you can automate somebody to go from a lead, like a stage to another. I was testing something a little bit ago that we're doing on another website where the trigger was somebody scheduling a meeting after they requested some information, and that opportunity was already in there as a new lead, and it moved them to automatically to schedule the meeting when they scheduled a meeting on the website. So there are a lot of things that can be done. And then we're going to do sales at lojomarketing.com for the name. We're just going to do sales. Sorry about that. Okay, and then sales at growth360.com. And our subject is going to be something simple. You can start, select an existing template. You can do a quick smart builder or just whatever you have here. Hey, I saw you requested this. When can we talk or something, okay? And it's going to be super simple like this. Alrighty. And now we're going to set the triggers. So remember, somebody submitted the form and then we created that opportunity in our pipeline and then an email was sent out. Alrighty. So now we are going to automate how this person moves throughout the system from stage to stage. Okay. So we are going to do something called wait. And usually wait is set up for time delays, kind of like how we talked about last week. If wait 2 days and then email the client again. This time we're going to use it for a little something a little bit different, and it's going to be an email event. So this is going to wait after an email event happens, okay? And then we're going to pick our email right here. That's the email right there. And then we're going to click on opened or click. So whenever your customer receives that email and then they open or click that, what's it called, that email, what's going to happen is it's going to prompt them to we're going to create something else. It's going to prompt them to follow a specific action. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry about that. I got ahead of myself because this is very exciting for me. So next time we're gonna
No
like the next
worries.
step
We
is
understand you, Maria.
yeah. Um.
Sorry,
So
go
the
ahead.
next, yeah, no worries. Let's see. I'm just making sure that I have it. Okay. So I did uh, forget something here. So the timeout is going to be 2 days. So what does the timeout mean is that it's the system's going to wait 2 days. If they open it or click, they're going to follow the next, the trail of they opened it. If they didn't do that, then it's going to just time them out. You can choose like an action for that, but otherwise it's just going to be like, okay, nothing happens. Like we lost that or something like that. Okay. So now that we have the timeout, here we have our two choices that I was talking about a little bit ago is the email event, right? So what happens when they open that email and what happens when they time out? And then you can choose whatever you would like. So here you can choose like, I'll send them another email. And then you can literally send them as many emails as you would like. But when somebody opens that email, I'm going to update the opportunity. Okay. So right here is update opportunity at the very bottom. And we are going to move them, all right, from their field and we're from new lead to the next stage. And we're going to go pipeline and we're going to pick our test pipeline. And then we are going to pick pipeline stage. And then we are going to go to contact call. And that is going to be our kind of like, hey, this is what's going to happen. Okay. So we're going to move it to pipeline, the contact call pipeline. Save as. Okay. And then the thing is that we're going to send out an internal notification. So we're adding this customer from a new lead to contact call. What does that mean? That means that we're going to set up somebody to call that client. So we're going to go ahead and do an internal notification and we are going to send an email and then we're going to do sales and you have to fill all this out. Okay, and then user type, it's going to be, you can do assigned user, particular user, custom email. Alrighty, so particular user, and we're going to put myself right there. And then now we're going to call the client. Okay, so obviously you would, flesh this out a little bit more. This is just so that we can save some time. And that's what's going to happen. That's going to add somebody into that stage. And last time I noticed that my picture, when I was rewatching, my picture was on the right-hand side at the top and you couldn't see. But up here at the top, there's a draft and publish toggle. So what we are going to do is that we are going to go ahead and save after we click it to publish, and then we're going to save. As always, don't forget to, publish your workflows. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. Alrighty, so I have this form right here, and then can you see my form, Diana?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. Can you hear my cat crying?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I'm not hearing any background.
Okay, good, good. I was like, okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fill it out. Okay, so if everything is set up correctly, once somebody submits this form, there should be a little bit of of like a little, it'll go down the workflow. So button, okay, and let's go look at the enrollment history. Okay, yeah, it has our it has our numbers or our names and our emails confused for some reason. But so we're going to go to opportunities, and the next step right here, as you can see, that new lead was automatically created from me uh, from me filling out that form. Alrighty. Now let's see if I got an email. Nothing yet, but my inbox is a little bit slow at times. All right, so let me go ahead and just go back here and let's see, where's my test? Okay, here we go. All righty, so we're creating that opportunity and that email went out, unless I might have accidentally made it so it looks a little bit spammy, which you don't want to do. So it might have not sent out because of that reason. But as you can see right here, it says my form was submitted. And then here you can look at the execution flow. And let me just double check here. Yeah, for some reason, I bet it got stuck on my filter, unfortunately. But as you could see right here, it added it straight to the new lead. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit something that's a little bit of a trick for the next item on the list, which is triggering a follow-up when a deal moves. So say you have a different type of workflow and then you need to automate a follow-up to the client, and it needs to, what's it called? Let me check my spam, but I don't see it. Yeah, you know what? Our email settings are super secure, and I think that like the email looks a little bit like spammy. It says, "Hey," yeah, so definitely don't do that. It's just for testing purposes. But anyway, so when you're trying to when somebody moves to another stage, whether it be through this, automation or manually, you want to and you want to do a follow-up with them, whether it be a text or an email or I don't know, anything else. A lot of times the issue, and this is something that actually our salesperson showed me, which is really cool. A lot of times if you're manually moving somebody, you could get a little, it's like sometimes it gets a little hard, and then you could accidentally put somebody into the wrong category and then accidentally send out a reminder email or a reminder text. A good way to avoid this is to create a tag, and we're going to add a contact tag, and then we're going to do S310. Okay, that's going to be our tag. But then you're saying, like, well, that's going to be messy because all of my contacts are going to have this tag. Well, they don't have to. You can actually remove the tag. Okay. And then it was test. Okay. Alrighty. And you're saying, well, what's the point if you're just going to remove it? Well, the point is this. The point is that if you accidentally have a salesperson who's moving people manually, and it's not going to trigger that follow-up email or call. Okay, so I'm going to move this person myself, but I don't have a tag. I'm going to move myself just like automatically, and I'm not going to get any opportunity email, and I'm not going to get a internal notification. The client's not going to be getting any emails that you sent by mistake, and that is a good way to avoid like accidentally sending communications to your clients that you don't want them to like get in general, if you're ever like, well, what if I do this manually and but this automation is saying I'm going to move them from this stage to the other stage, and it's going to do it. It's going to do something specific. Well, adding a tag and then removing it after the action is a good way to avoid making any manual mistakes like that. Okay. So if you were doing a follow-up, of course, you could do a text and then SMX or a call or anything like that. Alrighty. And any questions so far, Diana? Does everything make sense?
It looks good so far. Yeah, maybe you can
Okay.
just kind of like give a recap where we are at so that people are, what's
Yes.
happening now? Yeah.
Yes, that's a great idea. So just as a little recap, we did create our pipeline and we created a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 stage pipeline. All right. And then we learned about, where is my workflow? And then we learned about automation stage movement, how like an action on your website or on social media or any type of action that you would like can be set up as a trigger, and that can create an opportunity, and then an action that your client takes can move them automatically from one email to another, from one stage to another. I apologize. Okay. And then we also learn how to avoid making mistakes when you're moving somebody over manually from pipeline to pipeline, and that is by adding and removing a tag. That way you don't get confused, or you don't get any, your client doesn't get any emails that are not meant for them. Item is creating a stuck lead reminder. Okay, and everybody has stale leads. Sometimes you contact them and they're saying like, hey, maybe next week, or maybe a salesperson forgot about them and they're like, they just sit there and nobody does anything about it. And because I don't really hang out in the opportunities area a lot, I'm not a salesperson. I actually had, and while I was preparing for today, I had to learn how to do the stale, how to trigger this action, because I had no idea. I never thought that I didn't know that it existed inside already, and I'm going to show you. But so I started building something super complicated at first, and then I was like, I don't know how to do this. And so I came in here and actually asked our automation AI, uh, hey, this is what I want to do. How do I do it? And it showed me how to do it. And I didn't use all the steps that it suggested, but it was a good starting point for me. Alrighty, so now I'm going to show you how to set up a stale lead. Okay. And you literally just type in stale opportunities right here, stale opportunities, and then we're going to add our filters. And we are going to go ahead and, okay, in pipeline, and we're going to click our test pipeline. And then you can do it like a stage specifically, like, hey, it's been, somebody called them, or somebody didn't call them, or they forgot them. Alrighty, and then we are going to click another item that has duration in days. And this is where you put down how many days should a contact be on a specific stage before you do something about it, basically. So in this, oops, sorry.
Somebody's cheering for you, Maria.
Yeah, yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so
Okay. That's normal part of our lives now.
yeah, there's nothing even outside. I don't know why she's barking. Okay,
Okay.
so anyway, so it's going to be 14 days and we're going to save our trigger. So this is going to tell us, hey, if somebody's stuck in the test pipeline contact stage, then the 14 days, if they've been hanging there for 14 days, we're going to do something about it. All righty. And then we're going to just follow, what actions do we want to do? Probably we want to send an internal notification to our salesperson telling them, hey, something has to be done about this about this person. Right, give me just a second.
And while Maria is working on that one, to our live viewers and also to those who are catching us via the recording, you can use the comment section to ask us any questions regarding this specific topic about setting up pipelines, doing automation, and stuff like that. And we also encourage you to use the, what's the name of the channel? The support, let me double check the name of the channel, the software support channel in our community to ask any questions regarding the the use of Growth Uni 360. If, for example, you are working on a specific project, specific system that you want to implement for your business and then you got stuck, you can always use that, or you can also reach out to us for any questions. Okay, I think Maria is back.
Thank you, Diana, and sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so we're gonna send an email notification from the system. We can do like, again, sales, and then you just type that in, and then you choose the type of assigned user. In this specific situation, the assigned user is Steven. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and finish filling that out, and we have to fill that out, otherwise it doesn't let me save. Okay, and this is a simple one. We save as, and then of course, don't forget to click publish on the right hand side corner at the top. And this is a very simple one. You literally just type in stale opportunities, fill it out, and then you have your notification, your internal notification. Send an email to the client if you'd like. Of course, that depends on whether you have that email and phone number, which we're assuming that you do. And yeah, so that's kind of like the end for this specific automation. It's pretty simple. And I do want to point out again, one quick way to kind of create automations or get a little bit of an idea of how to create certain automation is by working with the automation AI. It's super simple. You literally type in, hey, I want to do this. And if it's not possible, it'll tell you. And then also, like, don't rely on it 100% because, of course, it messes up. Sometimes it does things that it shouldn't. So if you're like, hey, I got this, but I'm missing one key part of this workflow or this automation, you can always contact us to, like, see how we can help you move forward with that.
Amazing. Yeah, on that note, I also want to mention, since Maria brought up workflow AI, so if you are not aware, we have that feature. We actually have a lot of AI usage in GrowGenie 360, and that's one of those. Be able to create workflows using the workflow AI, and now you can just go to automation, and then you click on the right top, like build using AI. And I think it was last month, Steven also did a demo of how to use that workflow AI, and as we in a specific use case scenario. So the specific scenario that was used there is, I have lots of business cards, and I wanted to be able to um get the information from this business card, input them into the system, and then create a follow-up system. And yeah, he demoed how you can actually capture using your lead connector app. So if you are not yet using the lead connector app, make sure that you do that, and then you can capture the business information, and then it will generate the information, and then it can map out into the system. And he used workflow AI to kind of like give a prompt. This is what I wanted to happen. That now that this person, or now that this contact has been in my system, I tagged it this way. This is the nurture that I want to happen. There's an email that goes out, there's an SMS that goes out, and so on. I'm gonna link that specific demo in the comment section of this live later on. So if that's something that you wanted to check out for see how another specific use case of workflow AI, then check that out later. Okay, another thing that I want to also mention in Growth Uni 360, your business is not limited to just one pipeline. you can build more than one pipeline if the process or if your process needs it. So not every customer journey is the same, and not every part of the business should be forced into just one set of stages. So for example, service business, like let's say an HVAC company. An HVAC company might have one pipeline for new estimate requests, and then another pipeline for ongoing maintenance plan, and then probably another pipeline for the leads for repeat service follow-up. So those are different types of actions, those are different types of opportunities, different steps, different timing, and also, of course, different follow-up needs. So you can separate your opportunities depending on a project, and that makes it easier for your team to know what is happening and what needs attention. Okay, so it might sound a little overwhelming, all the things that Maria has shown. And also, if your current process is probably messy or you haven't really mapped out your entire customer journey, it's not clear yet. So, but if there's one takeaway from this session, it's this. Take that time to map out your customer journey. Just sit down, probably set 30 minutes or an hour. Think about, okay, what is it actually that happens? Somebody contacts us for the first time, you know, a first inquiry up to closing that deal and making sure that that deal becomes a customer. So what happens when a lead first comes in? Should you be sending out an automated text message acknowledging that lead, or should you be notifying, if you have a team, notifying who, which person, and so on? So what also needs to happen before you consider them a qualified lead? Because let's face it, not every lead is a qualified lead. Sometimes it's just you don't need that lead in your business. Okay, think about when should follow-up happen. Should that happen within 24 hours, 48 hours, or like Maria was talking about earlier, stale leads? What is a stale lead for you? Is that a 2 week period of no movement, no contact, and so on? So think about what are the different or what are the main points where a deal moves forward, stalls out, or gets handed off to someone. And Maria was just texting me that she's still there, that just her camera is just getting weird right now. So no problem. Maria, do you have any like last words, reminders, or thoughts as we close out this session?
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of things today, and some of them were a little bit hard to explain in a way that it makes sense to maybe somebody who's just starting out. So if this is familiar with them, you can always contact us via the group or, support, and we'll be happy to help you. And if you're like, okay, this makes sense, but maybe you have a different situation, we're happy to help you figure out how to how to create an automation that is like exactly perfect, or hope, if it's possible to your situation, because some things are not possible, like but like Growth 360 is constantly growing and learning. So I think if you need any help, we're here and happy to help.
And we can always find a workaround. There's always a workaround. If what you have in mind at the moment
Absolutely.
isn't possible, we can always have plan B, C, D, and so on. We've had those times that this is what I wanted to happen, but platform
Yeah.
limitation. Let's do this option, and it still achieves the objective. Okay, so yeah, going back to the pipeline, I think, and I agree with Maria. And another key to remember, your pipeline doesn't need to be too complex as well. You can start simple, but your pipeline should help your business move opportunities forward. Not just a storage place where all the people that comes in or contacts you is just their names, information, but it should be helping your business move forward. Okay, I'm just checking the live right now. We have a viewer. Thank you for joining us. I'll just wait a few sec if there's any question that will come in. If not, just an overview for next week. we're gonna look at calendars. Okay, so week one, we've looked at creating a follow-up system for your leads, and then today, week two is opportunities and pipelines. And now let's look at another feature, calendars, because it's another crucial aspect of business. Like people need to book appointments if that's how your business works. Okay, so we'll help you optimize your calendar setup, how you can set that up in Growth 360, how you can create automated reminder sequence. For example, you want to remind them 24 hours, 1 hour, that's something that you can think of. And doing that will help reduce your no-shows, because it's one thing for people to book an appointment with you, but sometimes life happens, somebody book an appointment for 7 days from now and then they forgot. So setting up reminders will um remind them obviously that about your appointment. Okay, so just taking a look if we have questions. I don't think we have anything that's coming in right now, but once again, if anything comes up, you know how to reach us out. Comment section, use the specific channel for software support, or reach out to us via our contact information. So that would be all. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you again for another Hotline Support Hour. And I'm just going to take a look at the live stream. Okay, I'm ready to end this live stream.